And honestly, quite frankly, we fail miserably to show the public their money, what's buy them. Like, I mean, the guy who found my driveway, perhaps, he changed the price overnight, $100 on the driveway. Take it or leave it, because the guy's gone up, he raised it by $100. Do we say a lot about this? No, I still want him to do my driveway. I don't want to do my driveway. I mean, but as an individual, as a city council, we fail because somebody out there still saying we can run municipal service without any increase. And I can tell you, it's going to be very next to impossible unless you're willing to do with a longer period to get an ambulance, longer to get a fire or police or a bus or a plow, snowplow. Because we get complained either about snowplow if they're not there at 6 o'clock everywhere in the city. And we have the biggest city probably in the country, but still folks expect that kind of service. From what I think the service needs to be reviewed and which model can we adopt and we can sell it to the public. But you got to remember, everyone, no matter where you are, they keep asking for that service. They're not saying, don't plow my roads, okay, I can stay with it 24 hours without plowing my road. They're not saying that.
So when Larry O'Brien said, I can hold the line on taxes without cutting any services, there's enough fat in the administration at City Hall, there are enough things that we can do to contain our costs. Was he wrong? Was that wrong?
He was wrong, and he even admitted, Mark, because the city, even in his own consultant, he said, well, the city's administration cost today in 2010, going to be budget, less than what we pay administration before prior to amalgamation. I mean, how could we say that the administration is heavy when in by percentage we are below the median right across the province?
Okay, let's take a call from Scott. Good evening, Scott.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So my comment would be, I'm not sure what you guys are smoking on the table there at City Council, but first of all, most of you campaigned on 0% tax increase. This is just
the mayor did.
Well, the mayor did, but I think the mayor has the most public support as compared to council. Most of the council seems to get in by a small portion of the public. I just don't know what you guys are thinking. I mean, you just can't keep raising 5%, like I hear Alex telling year over year over year. It's not sustainable.
And we don't raise it 5% year over year over year. But when you have lumpy things that come up and you've got to make decisions.
That's an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse. We go out and justify to our
You have to make tough decisions.
Sure, and this one we go out to the public for, and it's very clear. In this budget that my colleague had voted on, cuts to bus service, $60 million. Is that what you want? If that's not what you want, then we're going to have to make an adjustment on the tax levy. Eli has laid it out. Your tax dollars buy service. And sometimes something comes along we have to adjust for. So when
like
the arbitrator
$36 million to Siemens for a failed transport,
then you've got to cover that 3%. And if you're going to bring in a green bin program that's going to divert waste and bring it to 60% diversion, which the province tells it to do, well, that program's got to be paid for.
So, Scott, let me ask you a question. What services would you want to see cut in order to achieve a lower tax increase?
Listen, I mean, I hear talk about spending more money on police. It's value for money. We have one of the worst police force records in the province. I'm not giving them more money. They're not doing the job they're supposed to be doing.
Well,
we have one of the worst paramedic services. This is over and over again. I mean, we're not getting value for money.
Hold on for a second. First of all, there's two things we have to correct it. A, I don't smoke anything, and I don't think Alex smokes because Alex is a runner, number one. Number two, no one on council campaigned the last time, and we have the platform with each other because we always look for each other's platform, and none of us run except on a cost of living, and Alex, I think he said more to achieve, but I mean, some of us, majority of us said cost of living, and then when you say we have the worst police or paramedic, I'm sorry, I'll take a different route on this. We have one of the best police service in the country, if not in the province, and paramedic is a big city. Our city is bigger than Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, and Edmonton all together.
And what did the Auditor General report say?
Almost 90% of the time. I'm sorry, if you want to make a statement, you have to accompany that statement with a fact. I'm telling you the fact. 90% of the time, paramedics serve Galata in the end of the west end of the city. 90% of the time within that time frame set for that.
So what did the Auditor's report say about the paramedics is the fund.
Scott's asking what the auditor's report said about that.
Auditor's report also criticized the paramedic on and some of the way we answer the call, like the call, what do you call it, the call center. And the call center is set by the province, and there's a certain criteria, the way you have, to follow the rules on this one. And we have to follow this until the province allow the city of Ottawa to have made their own, made in Ottawa, how you...
We did raise this with Mr. DeMonte, and the point is how these calls are, what categories they go in, and so some of them might have been in other categories, so they're not exactly 911 calls, but it doesn't stop the volume of calls that you have to respond to. So we do look at this seriously because we can't afford, as a matter of fact, the committee that Eli and I sat on pulled back the increase on paramedics. The plan was you needed 23 to deal with simply population growth, but another 40 to deal with the volume growth. And these guys peeled it back to give us back some $1 million, which went to the bottom line.
Right.
But it was a choice.
Okay, so Scott, I just want to make sure I understand the message that you're sending to City Council, because you're saying you don't want to see these kinds of property tax increases. What do you want to see taken out of the budget in order to reduce the property tax increase?
Look at size, I'm in the high-tech sector. What do you think's happened in the high-tech sector over the last 3 years? It's been decimated.
Right.
Do you think people can afford year over year to pay those sorts of increases?
So are you saying, but what are you saying that the city should do? Because obviously they would have to cut their expenditures. So where would they cut their expenditures in your view?
Lay it out on the table. Tell me where you're spending the money. I mean, I am positive. When they spend $6 million they lose $6 million on a strike, which accomplished nothing, which could have been settled by an arbitrator the very next day. That's a waste. When we hear $36 million to settle for light rail that we got nothing for.
No, we got $20 million worth of stuff out of that. I have to tell you that. All that material they did in North-South, we get $20 million worth of that.
All right, we have to take a break. Scott, I appreciate your call. If you have a question or a comment on your property taxes, give us a call right now. We'll be right back on Talk Ottawa.